the bulk of the patients will be vaccinated. If you're not vaccinated, you get segregated, you get put in a different part of ED, put into isolation. And people, they just, I mean, I had one consultant on my last night. She stood in front of our big board with everybody, all the patients and all their symptoms, and she said, what's going on? Why have we got so many patients? It's all cardiac, short of breath, you know, collapses, falls. And I just can say, tick, 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 this is adverse reaction. All of our wards are full, you know, of people having cardiac problems, people flare-ups from their cancer, like you name it. It's just, I guarantee our hospital is full of vaccine damaged. It's just, people are blind. People just cannot see it.
So obviously everyone's been really concerned about hospital beds being taken up. There is a lot of information out there about treatments that are coming from other countries. Why do you think New Zealand has refused to adopt any of those treatments and any of the advice coming out from other countries?
Well, I understand that the reason why we could have our vaccine rolled out as quick as what we could was it was under emergency guidance. And the only reason why it could be rolled out in an emergency is that it's the only form of treatment. So you don't hear our government talking about how to stay healthy. I went to a wellness seminar last night, and you don't hear the government say, like, take B, zinc, D, all of these supplements. You don't hear, you know, the government saying stay healthy, you know, and what to do if you have COVID. If you get COVID, particularly if you're an MIQ, you get Panadol. And what a lot of people don't realise is there's roughly like 5,000 people that have COVID and they're self-isolating. Okay, so, and maybe a small percentage of those end up in hospital. So you don't hear about the large numbers that have got COVID, have recovered from COVID. You only hear about the small minority that end up in hospital. And there's a mixture. So the people that end up in hospital, it's not just the unvaccinated, it's the vaccinated too. You know?
So I've had a lot of people reaching out to me recently saying we tried to do the right thing, we went and got our jab, we thought we were being a good part of society, we were really contributing, and we've had horrible reactions, and the doctors have turned to us and said, we don't know what it is, we can't help you, good luck, effectively. And it seems bizarre that that's our stance on this. What research in the hospitals were they giving out, were they talking about with people that had reactions? Were anyone talking about it, or was it too taboo to talk about?
So, I mean, I've heard of it depends on the doctor. So when a person comes into ED, it really depends on who they get looking after them. I'd say the majority of doctors are pretty blind themselves and will swear black and blue that whatever they're going through is nothing to do with with the vaccine. The odd, depending on how severe, the odd, you know, doctor will say, oh, this could be the vaccine. You know, like you get a disgustingly healthy 30-year-old guy, has not got any lung issues, cardiac issues, and he's in having acute chest pain, you know, the constant feeling of pressure on his chest, shortness of breath, and yet he's healthy. And they're like, oh, well, maybe it could be from, you know, your second jab that you got 3 days ago. And so they'll run tests. In fact, I had one doctor, so I did blood tests on this guy, and I said, oh, I reckon we should get a D-dimer, which is the test to look for, you know, presence of blood clots in the body. And he's like, oh, yeah, I suppose you could do that. So I did a D-dimer, it came back, and it was through the roof. It was like 1,000, and a D-dimer should be 0. And he's like, he just turns to me and said, you know, I wish I'd never taken that blood test. And I'm like, okay, well, you have now, so you're obligated to do something about it. So, you know, the blood test wouldn't have been done. He would have gone home. He could have died at home.
So why did the doctor not want him taking a blood test?
Because now he's got to follow through and he's got to do all the tests. Whereas, you know, like a lot of nurses in the background were like, oh, you know, like it's just the same old. People are assuming it's the vaccine. There's nothing wrong with the vaccine. It's, you know, he's anxious or he's got anxiety or he's, you know, it's all in his head. This is what nurses are saying. It's all in people's head. You know, you don't go to ED unless something is seriously wrong.